RPGaDay would like to remind you if a particular question is not for you, alternate questions are available on the Casting Shadows blog. Today's response for RPGaDay for 2017 answers question number 29. And it's August 29th. Go figure. Question 29 is asking us about crowdfunding. The question mentions Kickstarter, but if there's some other form of crowdfunding that you participate in, talk about that. The key point of the question is about how well run the crowdfunding project was. Crowdfunding seems to be taking a bigger and bigger role of greater and greater importance in how most role-playing games are being produced these days, from small independent publishers made up of one single person operating alone in the dark trying to create something new, or larger companies with a variety of employees in different roles. Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and other platforms are now almost inextricably linked, it seems, to the production of new games. So, that there are ways to run these programs well is important to those of us who like to play and those of us who like to support the creation of new games. So even though the question says Kickstarter, think crowdfunding and talk about the best run campaigns you can imagine. So on my written blog, I have quite a few examples of well-run ones, and the ones I picked were ones which had an influence on the formalization of my personal crowdfunding rules. The type of project I will consider backing has to align to a high degree with this list of personal rules that I have, and if you're interested in those rules, you can check it out on the written blog. But it was the combination of having some shaky or downright negative experiences combined with having some awesome experiences as a crowdfunding backer that these rules grew. And so the ones I want to talk about impressed me as backers. And quite a few of these things I have like unboxing videos for. If I'm going to get involved with a Kickstarter or something like that, and it's usually Kickstarter that I get involved with, it will include print materials. It's often the cheapest way for me to get them. And it's just interesting being allowed to see slightly behind the scenes on how these things are brought to light and put in your hands. So recently I did an unboxing video about a game called Cabal, written by Andrew Peregrine and released with his fledgling design company, and this was their first Kickstarter. Also this year I backed one which there will be an unboxing of in the next couple of months when the print copies are due, by a gentleman named Caleb Stokes, for a game called Red Markets. This was another excellently run project from start to finish. It's obvious that both gentlemen had done their research about what was required and gave themselves enough time, prepared properly beforehand, sought advice, got feedback from proofreaders and things like this about the project before ever launching, and then followed their plan through step by step till the completion of the project, and then once funding was achieved, followed their plan through until the product was delivered. These are what I would consider to be textbook cases. Now in both cases, both projects encountered snags, and what this tells you is not that the gentleman didn't prepare properly, but that something always happens. If something doesn't happen to interfere with your plans in some way in one of these long-term design projects, that's luck, not planning, I would say. So when dealing with production, when dealing with artists, when dealing with writers, when dealing with shipping. There are many, many, many things which can cause delays or interruptions or miscommunications which need to be addressed. There's a lot of moving parts in getting a physical product in your hands. So even the best laid plans deliver late after a Kickstarter project. So those two, Cabal and Red Markets. Go on to Kickstarter, look at how they were organized, read through the updates that you can gain access to, and look for feedback from people who are involved. These were well-run campaigns. Older campaigns that I thought were a lot of fun weren't always the best run, and they wound up over-promising, under-delivering, delivering late, and this creates a sense of not wanting to do it anymore. But it's examples like these two that make you sit up and say, you know, I do want to be a part of this. I just have to be more cautious myself. I have to ignore the hype. I have to resist things like crazy amounts of stretch goals. I have to sit down and focus on what was the goal of this project. And I think creators should keep that in mind as well. What is the goal of this project? Maybe a quintessential example of this is an early Indiegogo project by the Design Mechanism when a collector's edition of the RuneQuest 6 rules was desired. They sat down, they figured out what it would take, they invited us to participate. If this is what we wanted, they would be happy to produce it. We pledged money, and they produced something truly beautiful. And that's it. It was perfect. On time, what was promised. Everybody benefited from the generosity of everybody, and the great experience of the Design Mechanism, you know, shone through clearly. These guys know what they're doing, and they can deliver. So, with these three examples, I'll conclude my response for today. Tomorrow, day 30. 2 days left. See you then. RPGaDay would like to take this opportunity to remind you to make the most of the petty cash. Slow down. Chew your food.